Jeffrey to come in and talk mindset. Real quick introduction.
Jeffrey Saad, my wife Nadia and I, we work together at Compass in Beverly Hills.
Go for it.
Yeah. So first thing I think, one great thing to get from Peter there, in addition to everything else he did, is what a way to just adapt and shift in the moment. Like, that is the greatest thing, to think on your feet and stay cool, and that's something we could all use always. I loved it, Peter. Thank you. So real quick, just to get an idea, how many people are newer agents, like less than a year or two? A few? Okay, cool. And you know, that's what I'm always think two things when I come up here. First is I'm so honored to see all these successful, amazing realtors that still come to things like this because they want to be better. The second thing I always think is I absolutely have to leave you better than I found you, and that is absolutely my goal today. So I hope that's what happens. So all these years you've been told there is no magic pill. There is no silver bullet to succeed, but there actually is one, and I've got it, and I'm going to give it to you today. It's guaranteed. But first, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'm 6 years old. I'm sitting at the kitchen table. Our nanny goes upstairs. We hear a blood-curdling scream. I mean, the kind of scream you never want to hear in your life. My father is shot to death in his bed. My mother goes on trial for it. She gets acquitted. But then she turns things around. She marries a total loser who then brings more misery and negative energy to our lives. So where does that leave me? It leaves me in the luckiest guy in the world club. The good news is there's a luckiest woman in the world club as well. I'm not here to sell you anything. Membership is free. And you know how you get in? You just decide. You decide you're the luckiest guy in the world. You decide you're the luckiest woman in the world. How many of you feel like you're the luckiest person in the world? Nice. At least half of you. That's good. And of those, if half of you are lying, that's still okay. Because you're telling yourself the story that you're good. And that's the thing, you know, Peter touched on it. The story is a huge thing because at the end of the day, you must believe that yesterday's gone, tomorrow doesn't matter. All we ever have is this moment. Our entire lives is this group of us together right now, because that's all we know for sure. Yesterday is a story. Tomorrow is a story. So I have chosen my whole life to tell a great story. Fantastical fantasy of success and happiness. And it may be coincidence, but all these great things keep happening in my life. So my goal is stop telling yourself stories that don't serve you. Only tell positive stories. You know, after that horrible childhood, I went into college and purged all this stuff. And I woke up one day and I felt blessed because I did wake up and just say, like, this is my life. Like, that wasn't my life. That's something that happened in my life. It's not my identity. My biography is not my destiny. I am the author of my story. And it's so easy to be the author when you're just focused on this minute. You don't have to carry around the baggage of yesterday and the unknowns of tomorrow. You just focus on now, and you'll be good. And why do I tell this? To depress you all with like some weird, scary story? No. I say all this because it is not a real club, obviously, but it's a mindset. And if your mindset is that all is going to be great, you show up differently. You show up differently to your family, to your friends, to your clients. When you bring joy, that is your magic bullet. That is the magic pill, the silver bullet. Bring joy. When you show up happy, everything works out. It's unbelievable. You can have all the skills in the world, and if you look miserable or even look just somewhere in the middle of the road, you're not going to get that listing. And you're going to wonder why that buyer's such a jerk and those sellers just, didn't understand. No, it's because you didn't bring the best you. And when you bring the best you, like, it just all happens. If you've got joy and you show up excited to help and to be of service and telling yourself the story that I'm going to get this listing, you'll get the listing. Then they want to hear about your skills. Then all of a sudden, the way you do things becomes interesting. And let me hear it. Like Peter was saying, if your story is interesting, then the door opens for you to talk about all the things you're great at and why your marketing is so good. But you first got to show up. And the problem most of us have is expectations, right? It's all about expectations. Nadia and I were sitting in Buenos Aires a couple weeks ago. We're sitting at a sidewalk cafe on a sunny day. 6 guys pull up on a motorcycle, attack my wife and the guy next to him, rip the watch off her arm. I throw the table up and jump. Thank God I didn't catch them or they would have taken turns kicking my ass. They're gone in 2 seconds. Expectation. We should be enjoying our vacation. We deserve to enjoy our vacation. So we have 2 choices at that point. Oh, poor me. How could this happen? I'm on vacation. No. Within 5 minutes, my amazing wife, Nadi here, was fine. We said, within 3 minutes, I said, God, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. She didn't get hurt. They didn't stab her to get the watch. They didn't beat her up. They didn't shoot us. They took a watch. Buy another watch. The kind of money we all make, you can buy a couple watches. It's the beautiful thing about real estate. And don't forget that, by the way. How many of you feel blessed to be a realtor? Like, oh my God, I wake up today, I'm a realtor. I don't see enough hands. Guys, what other business on earth do you have no capital investment or next to nothing, no employees if you don't want any or one, a completely free schedule, and you get to get check after check, tens of thousands of dollars? I mean, are you kidding me? If you don't wake up like, I'm a realtor every day, you already just don't get it. You're already telling yourself the wrong story. We are so blessed. It is such a brilliant business. And with things like Peter's doing, and thank God for Steve bringing us all together, for us, it's just about honing your skills and getting better every day. I'm a huge fan of that Kaizen, just a little bit better every day. And that's why I challenge you to tell a better story to yourself every day, even if it's just a little bit. So, rewinding a second. So, expectation lets you down, right? We weren't getting a perfect vacation, something bad happened. But you have to quickly switch that expectation to gratitude, to appreciation. So that's the first little thing I want to give you is when something doesn't go your way, on a dime, how fast can you first just recognize that your expectations weren't met, and that's why you're spiraling down? If you just recognize it, that's already the first good step. Second step, switch it to appreciation quickly. Thank God nothing more happened to her. Thank God we're okay and we can afford another watch and a vacation. I hope that guy did something good with that money. So from expectation to appreciation. That's a big Tony Robbins thing if you follow that stuff. But it makes sense because it's really that expectation. Secondly, catch yourself next time you're telling a story and stop it, unless it's a great story. Every day I wake up, I truly say, oh my God, this is going to be the best day of my life. And I've got myself convinced that it's true. And even if it's not, isn't that a better story than, oh shit, this is going to suck, I got to go. It's like, why not lie to yourself? It's a much better journey. My wife used to say to me, we bought our first house in Bel Air, we were still kind of newer agents, and she says, how are we ever going to pay for this? I'm like, we'll figure it out. Well, what if it all comes crashing down? Well, at least we're in a nice house with a view. If it crashes, I want to be in the pool. It's like, why? Don't tell your stories about what might happen. And many of you that don't have a great plan, you don't know what tomorrow's going to happen for sure. Even if you have a plan, it might not go as you think. So stop telling the stories. And how does this affect real estate directly? Well, when I go to a door-to-door knock, sorry man, I'm still doing that shit, When I go to a door, I don't go the first year I did, because Steve, this is 2001, Steve's like, go to the door. I'm like, okay, I'll go. Steve, nobody's answering. Go back. Okay, I'll go. And I would just go because Steve told me to and because I committed to it. But now I go and I'm like, this is my next listing. The other side of that door is my new client that's going to love Nadia and I for life. This is our new listing. They slam the door at me and I go, I felt some love in there though. That's not a today, but that's like, we're going to do this at some point. So that's the story I tell myself. And then I feel good walking down the street. I used to feel like, why don't I just have my Bibles and, start selling stuff? I'm like, what an idiot. I'm walking down the street sweating. Now the story I tell myself, and for years I have been, is I'm the mayor of the street. Good morning. Hey. Those slamming doors are just like a parade. That makes me happy. That's the story I want to tell myself. So when in your prospecting, that belief that you're in the luckiest guy or the luckiest girl in the girl club is going to make you show up better. It's going to get you a better result because your expectation is this is going to go really well. Listing appointment, same thing. I don't go in thinking, oh my gosh, are they going to ask me about commission? Or geez, is there going to be something I don't know? I'm fully prepared. I'm a professional, but I go in with just the expectation that we've got the listing. It's the way it's going to be. How could they choose anybody else? It's not going to happen. So listings tend to go better. And, and I was motivated listening to Liz because, my gosh, we definitely next year, we got to go on more listing appointments. We get pretty much every listing appointment we go on, but we don't go on clearly, when I look at, numbers like that and people going on 200 listings a year. So that's an opportunity. But we always get them because we expect to get them. You know, I expected. My sisters used to laugh at me because I had this long list of the impossible wife. They're like, okay, why don't you just say you don't ever want to get married? Because you're not going to find that person, so just be honest. Oh, I'll find her. I found her. You know, I said, I'm going to have a boy and a girl and a great family. You know, it happened. Now, you know, doesn't guarantee anything, but again, I like the story. Tell the story and things will go better. Apply it to each step of your business. Your clients, with each other. My biggest disappointment in myself is when I'm pissy with one of you guys, or I don't keep my cool, because we owe it to each other to be great to each other. We're on the same page. We're trying to accomplish the same thing. So when an agent calls, you know, my client would like to request, you know, $90,000. I know it's a one-bedroom studio for $350,000, but, you know, your first reaction should be, great, let's solve it. Again, what's the story you're going to tell yourself? The story I'm working so hard now more than ever to tell myself is, I can solve anything. The second I hear bad news, I'm going to solve it. Let's solve it. Let's solve it. Let's make it work. It sounds like, but it's not. It's the real deal, because whatever else you disagree with, you don't agree with what I'm saying, whatever you're saying is just a story too. Your story is no more legit than mine, so pick the one that's going to serve you well, the one that's going to make you get up in the morning and smile. Now, yeah, I can just say it to yourself. You're a member of the club, right? But there's ways to make it work. It's not just deciding. How many of you watch news in the morning or before bed? Not too many, thank goodness, right? Because to me, that's like toxic right there, right? So how many of you, first thing you wake up, you check your email? Handful of you. The other ones aren't admitting it. That's cool. But what you got to do is start your day with something that's going to make your story great. You know, I always start my day reading something inspirational. Always, always. After I read my why. You know, and again, everyone, you know, the cool thing about all this stuff is Steve has given us everything. We've all worked together. There's nothing new, really, I'm saying, or that anybody's saying, except for Peter, because he's cutting edge of the technology guy. But the rest of us, we're just saying it in a different way. But the good news for that is that it means it works. It's real. So start your day by reading something positive. Have your why. I mean, I read my why every single morning. I have so effectively brainwashed myself. It's unbelievable. I mean, I have myself convinced that that's exactly what's happening, whether it is or isn't. At night before I go to bed, I read my affirmations, you know? Things like, I'm present in every moment, which is why I'm always aware. I turn every problem into solutions. That's why I always win for my clients and my family. Get these things in your head. Start your day with a positive routine that puts you in the right place. And, you know, has anybody ever closed a deal because they were up to speed on the latest news? I've never heard anybody go, oh my God, I watched CNN this morning and I nailed that listing. Oh my God, Fox, woo, I'm so pumped up now after I glanced at that. That's never gonna happen. You know, so do things that actually make you better. Yeah, watch your Netflix show. I don't miss one, I watch it every night. You gotta have your fun, you gotta have your mindless stuff, but make sure that you're focusing on things that bring joy to your life. Because the funny part is too, like, I love hearing current events from other people. Because then it's a win-win. When you're at a cocktail party, when you're at a networking event, you're with friends, everyone would rather talk than listen anyway, right? So I'd rather let them talk and tell me what their version of these events are. So now I'm learning everybody's different opinion, and I'm getting a more even delivery anyway, and they're getting to tell me their story, and it's perfect. So it's a win-win. So I leave current events for that. And again, I'd rather live the lie and never know the bad things that are happening and enjoy my life than to spend my entire life worrying. And that's why the other thing is stop worrying. How many of you can honestly say you don't worry? Peter and I and you. Beautiful. Got a couple. Good. Because worry is the perfect example, right? And I'm not going to lie. Like, my kids first started driving, I worried. But a few months back, I said to Nadia, I go, you know, I just know that every time Sebastian leaves, he's coming home and he's going to be fine. And I truly have myself convinced of that. I don't worry anymore. Worry is the biggest waste there is because it weighs you down and affects your current energy and what you're putting out. You can't control it anyway, so what's the point? If you want to, anytime you catch yourself worrying, turn it into an action step. If you can't turn it into an action step, then you have to stop worrying. That's the deal for yourself, right? I'm worried that I'm going to become an alcoholic. Okay, well then I can stop drinking, right, and cut down my drinking. That's legit. I'm worried something's going to happen to my son in his car. Unless I see something I can do to stop that besides not letting him drive, I have to let it go. It's not going to serve me, so don't worry. With your partners, make a list of everything you're grateful for. Don't ever say to yourself, I can't believe they're not doing this or not doing that, because that's not going to go to a good place. Just be grateful for what they are doing, and it'll be amazing. You'll see how all of a sudden this joy will start spiraling between you and your loved ones, because you're not judging each other anymore, you're appreciating each other, and it just keeps getting better. I'll double check and see if there's any other joy I haven't spewed yet. Oh yeah, that was a good one. I think I hit most of it. Yeah, and that, that's really, I think, the biggest point to walk away with. If you show up feeling good and you make other people feel good, everything is going to go your way. So you really just got to ask yourself, how are you showing up? And our moods are kind of like the weather, right? I wake up some days and I just feel heavy. I'm like, why do I feel like almost depressed? Like, that's weird. Like yesterday I was like, woo, and why today I'm like, But the difference between the weather and our moods is you can then change it. So I challenge all of you to make a conscious effort to the second you feel that coming on, whether it's a little bit of blah, whether it's a little bit of defeat, whether it's I'm not going to succeed or or this deal's going bad, catch yourself, stop it, make a conscious effort to change it. You're going to change it by going from expectation to appreciation. You're going to change it by telling yourself a great story. I know this is all going to work out. We are going to do, I'm so proud of my wife. We hit our goal. When I was here a year ago, I said we'd be back to 7 figures, and we did it. With what's in escrow right now, we're there. And I've told myself that story all along, and I had no good reason to. We got back in the business. We, lost touch with everybody. We didn't know what was going on, but that's the story I told, and it worked out.
So, what I love about this is the real deal right here. He walks the talk, and as you're going through sharing this, what came up for me, I believe I sent you that Conor McGregor video.
Yeah, I love that.
And he makes a statement in there. I don't want anything, I have everything.
Right.
And that's the vibe I get for you.
Well, that's one of my favorite lines is it's all about wanting what you have, not having what you want. If you really want what you have, I don't think there's a week goes by I don't look at my watch and just go, I'm so lucky. Like, this is beautiful. Like, who made this? This is we sit down every day on our deck and look at the view, and I just go, really? Like, I get to look at this every day? It's incredible if you just truly, if you're grateful and appreciative, it just flows.
And what I see people is they're living for what could be
right.
versus living the life that they actually have. They're so
right.
caught up in thinking, I need to have this, I need to have that, and there's no appreciation for what's actually going on.
Yeah. It's amazing how I glance at goals. Right now, we're working on our 2018 business plan. I am going to work on it. I'm going to nail it. I'm going to take it, internalize it. And then
it's yours.
And then I'm done with it.
You're done.
done.
You already have it. You don't need to pursue it. It's already yours.
I'm just working backwards, and I know it's going to come true. But now I'm just going to worry about...
Now you just have to do the work. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. Right. And just be present in the moment. Like, I always say, we all look back, I rarely tell that story because I consider it gone and not part of my regular life, but you always have to look back at things, acknowledge them, good and bad, yeah. But the key is, are you straining your neck? Do you have a kink? Or do you just glance now and then? Same thing with forward. Are you looking at your goal like, yes, I see you, I'm coming? Or are you like, oh, it's so fun, I don't know how I'm going to do it, and getting all worked up over it. So it's got to be like, just do today, and each today's will work out.
And then you're talking about fear. You can't be worried and be in action at the same time.
No, it shows.
The action takes care of the fear. The fear is when you're sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
And that's why you have fear. And what you said, and this is so important, we tell ourselves a story. What is fear? We anticipate something bad happening. That's what creates fear. It hasn't actually happened. However, we're telling ourselves a story that this might happen. And that creates the fear. And the reality is that things usually don't happen the way we think they're going to happen. The thing we're worried about typically doesn't happen. And if it does happen, then we end up not feeling the way we thought we were going to feel when it does happen. It's just a waste.
Yeah, and it's
Total
just
waste.
exhausting. It's just so much more peaceful to be just in the moment. I mean, it's, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. If everyone hasn't read it, read it daily. If everyone would just do that, life would be perfect. It's really just about now. There's nothing else that's going to affect you.
Beautiful. Any questions for Jeffrey? Anyone? Thoughts?
You mentioned the big why. What's your big why?
My big why. Every single day, I just read the same thing to myself. We're killing it again. Making millions, debt-free, loving life. Bringing joy to all we encounter. Enjoying incredible family time. Watching our kids achieve their dreams. Helping them achieve their dreams. Traveling the world, surfing, mastering yoga. Overflowing vigor for life. And most importantly, being present in every moment. That is my why. I read it every morning because it hits everything that matters to me. I'm making the money and staying debt-free. I'm with my kids, inspiring them. I'm loving my wife. We're having great family time. I'm pursuing my personal passions. And Steve taught me that from day one. Why do we work 7 days in real estate? Because we don't work 5. Take your time off, take care of yourself. So I have to hit all those things. And it's really funny because every now and then I'll look at some goals I wrote down I haven't looked at in ages, and they're all coming true. Can you speak Spanish? Can I do these things? I'm like, wow, it just happened. How many people are determined to be in the luckiest guy or girl club in the world? Everybody members? Officially? Any hands not up? Good. Welcome to the club. It's a good place to be.
Now, if you only meant it. Other questions for Jeffrey? Yes, no?
I heard you touch on Tony Robbins for a minute as one of the...
Yeah.
Any other trainings, things that you recommend or that you've been through? I notice a lot of words that you're using that assimilate to other types of things I've read or...
Yeah. Honestly, I'll tell you the books that I've been reading lately. I just read because it's power. Again, there's constant stimulation that way. And anyone who wants to email me, I'll send these to you. But this one I'm reading right now, which is changing the way we're going to do business for sure. The Power of Moments. Ray Dalio's Principles. Amazing. One small step can change your life. That was my impetus years ago for Kaizen, the idea of just getting a touch better every day. And that's really huge. It's too overwhelming and depressing to think I'm going to do all this now, because you're not. My favorite analogy in the book is if you want to lose weight, start by eating your chocolate cake standing on the treadmill. Just do that first. Then the next day, take one step while you're eating it. And all of a sudden in a year, you won't be eating cake and you'll look as good as Steve. One step at a time. That's huge. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is a Bible. Inspiration, Never Giving Up. Steve Martin's Born Standing Up. Amazing book. I could go on for hours. But the key is I'm always listening to you guys, to my friends, to my family, to my colleagues, and listening for book recommendations that people say they love, looking at the New York Times bestseller list, whatever. But always be reading something inspirational. Steve is priceless, the coaching, because it's the truth that you don't want to hear sometimes. But if you hear it and keep... And also, in notes, I saw Peter had the notes too. In my notes app, it's this is my Bible. In notes, I have the Chris Voss seminar that we did together. If you do that again, my God, everybody must do it. That's changed my world. So I keep a note on all these things, favorite quotes, Chris Voss. I read that almost every day about how to approach negotiation. So I'm just constantly getting inspired with stuff until I want to turn it off and have a Manhattan and watch Netflix. But, that's got to go on every day or you're going to lose touch.
Any other questions for Jeffrey? Thank you, sir.
You bet.
All right.
Cheers.